All right, we're live. Well, we're recording. We're not live, but gents, another
Good
day,
morning.
another day in this hellhole that Sam has created. Sam and his cult and his orgy parties have dragged us in. So there's no point talking about anything else really. So I think probably just cover recent events and whatever's unfolded over the past 48 hours and try and get a hold on what's happening. Um, But first, how you both doing? Holding up?
I'm going good. Like I think I've taken this maybe like a lot better than most people. I'm super stoked. I'm super excited. Like in a really it's in like in a really unfortunate way because the way I see it is, this is having like an unfortunate massive flush out of unfortunately the good but the bad as well. So anything that's left is going to be the people that are now going to be rebuilding a new foundation to take this industry forwards. That's that's how I'm seeing it.
Jerry's on
It's
mute.
it's interesting that you brought that up because that was a conversation that we had probably 2 months ago where we said this is the time where the flush happens, but we always get caught out, right? You think the flush has happened, but it doesn't really, and then this happens, and it's like, oh, so this is the next round. So is there going to be another round? But you're 100% right. It's the people that remain or the people that are going to land up becoming essentially the foundation for the next run. And we just got to make sure, and anyone who's listening and watching, make sure you survive. That's all that matters right now. It's not about making big wins. It's not about being overly clever. It's just about surviving.
Yeah, and like the reason it's an unfortunate opportunity is because, and I've seen this a lot on Twitter. There's so many good people leaving. There's so many decent, genuine like normies going as well. But it's that things like when crypto gets shiny is again, those people who have had an experience in it, I think they're the ones that will come back. They just need to know that things are safe, things are a little bit cleaner, and there is an honest voice and there's an honest set of faces that are genuinely like leading the way and building. So I am unfortunately bullish in a really bad, horrible time. So I know there's a lot of people that have been affected, that have had their life destroyed, but those people that have, just keep going. Go. I hate this saying, but like, everyone's like, go touch grass. Like, yeah, go touch grass, but reset, rebuild. You can still be in the crypto community without owning a coin, right? It's like in maybe not so much video games, but you can still be within the ecosystem. You don't need to hold a bag in order to be part of it. If you've got a load of friends here, like stick with them, right? Just
and if they need a place to come chill and talk and throw stupid memes around and take the piss out of each other, then the Discord's open to everyone. There was a verification issue, people trying to get in last week, but has it been sorted? Salvatore sorted that last week. So that's back up. Everyone's welcome. Got nothing to say earlier. It's, as I say, there's a lot of people that are down pretty bad in there, but I think it just turns into gallows humor and camaraderie. It helps, I think. Just learning what's happened to everyone else, what not to do next time around. It is a baptism of fire for a lot of people who came into the space and thought that was a kind of safe self-custody place, but obviously that's can't be too hard on yourself because the best and the brightest in the industry have also been dragged down with this. No one's seen it coming. So, but yeah, that point of just sticking around, just if you've been through the like these are going to be the most difficult times. So if you can actually just get through these, it can only be brighter days ahead, I think. And again, everyone was happy to come in and buy a Bitcoin at fucking plus 60k and buy plus 3k Ethereum and stuff like that. It's you were never going to get to the promised land buying at those prices, and everyone knew that. And it started to get extremely frothy, and not that everyone was calling tops or anything like that, but as much as it is a cliche to say, and this space is completely filled with them, it's it's during these times like mass capitulation and when everything's a little bit quieter that you can actually reset and start building positions that not might anyway, if you pick correctly, they're going to be building kind of generational wealth opportunities. Space isn't going anywhere. Like, it's just not. There's enough kind of smart people that are going to stick around. People start throwing the idea that they're going to move away. They're not. No one's going to move away. No one's got anywhere else to go. There isn't a subculture on the planet like this one. It's saying people are kind of in the market. People saying the market's going to go away is effectively like saying that humans are going to get rid of the emotions of fear and greed. It's just not going to happen. So let's just stick around, survive. You can come chill out with us in Discord if you want. Yeah,
it's quite interesting how you bring the whole kind of like that narrative that is out there, like it's over, and it's like it's really interesting, that level of fear. Like that level of fear is very much indicative of being very close to the bottom, I believe. Do I believe that we're close to the bottom? I think in terms of number, I think we are, but in terms of timeline, definitely not. And we could probably debate and discuss this for, the next 3 hours. I don't really want to do that, but I just want to look at just the thing that you brought up is human emotion, human behavior, and how, if we step outside of it and get a bird's eye view of what's going on right now, is that if you had to observe us as a creature, we'd be running around like headless chickens. If you had to look at it that's what we're doing right now. We're just like, oh my God, and like running around, like, that like meme with a guy like losing his mind and his hands up in the air. And that's what's going on right now. And we need to be aware of how we're behaving, because that's what's dictating where the market is at. How are we behaving collectively? And right now we are in blind fear, and we need to be aware of it. I'm not saying that we mustn't be fearful, because it's a natural thing. But I believe that we are very close to the bottom in terms of the number. And I think if there's going to be any lesson that needs to be learned from where we are right now, is that there needs to be a concerted effort to step outside of that fear and to make a decision as to what role you want to play for the next cycle. That's the way I'm thinking about it right now. Do I want to get involved from a dollar cost averaging perspective? Do I want to buy what I deem to be the winners for the future run? Because there will be a future run. This is human behavior. This is going to happen. And you need to just decide how you want to approach it. There's different strategies around that. If you are interested in the space, which you probably aren't because you're fearful, but this is the time where you need to step outside of that, and you need to start coming up with plans and strategies and speak to people around you and try and understand, where do I want to be in the next bull run? And I think that's where the lessons now lie for all of us, is like, how do we extract, the valuable gems that are lying in the street here and pick them up and make them work for us. Very hard to do. I mean, it's by no means an easy thing.
Yeah, I think it's another thing that can be done to take a bit of stress off as well is if you've just purely been playing the markets as an investor or a trader, and not kind of had any input on effectively shaping the space or actually creating a product or creating something. This drawdown and even this horrendous period lately has been infinitely easier on a couple of counts. One, being surrounded by like a strong kind of community and people who are also in the same boat. But two, if you're actively pursuing something, maybe that's off your own back and you want to build something yourself, or if you're trying to get, I don't know, go and lend a hand to a protocol that's about to launch, go and dig down into what next narratives are, instead of investing your actual hard-earned money and getting completely rogued. Go and invest in yourself and go and invest in a project that's could go on to do bigger and better things, and invest with like kind of sweat equity, because there are people looking for kind of people with transferable skills from traditional worlds, even if you don't think you're good enough to do it. If you've been around this space for, I don't know, the past year or two, I guarantee there's kind of opportunities out there for you. So just go and speak to people, get your hands dirty, and as I say, instead of investing your money for other people to lose for you. Just go and kind of invest in yourself, because it makes it a lot easier. This time around, hasn't been a walk in the park, but it's been, as I say, infinitely better because we've been trying to grow a content platform effectively.
Yeah, and I guess going back to like your plan, Jedi, like having a plan is awesome, and the great thing about having a plan is you don't have to buy right now, because if you're in your plan and your thesis is that things are going to go down now, there's no point buying now and then dollar cost averaging all the way down. You know, have your plan, execute it at the right time. Like just because random coin, let's say Bitcoin, for example. Let's say Bitcoin dips today. It doesn't mean you need to buy it. You know, it might be in your long-term thesis. You know, set your little buy points. Maybe, and I think we've all got a few of these in. And like, if you haven't, I don't believe you. But you've definitely got a stink bid in somewhere that's just a wishful thinking. You know, maybe it's like 6969 on old Bitcoin. But you know, they're those kind of like cool little things. And if you do have $500, you got like $500, go and invest it in yourself. If you're wondering where to put your money, like Grant said, put it in yourself. Learn, of course. There's so many projects out there looking for decent talent, or talent that has the potential of becoming something big. You know, there is so much growing in this space right now. When you step away from like the charts and all of this and these wicks, and you actually look at the teams, or you go to a conference, right? The biggest thing that I've done over this year is go to 2 conferences, Zebra and Solana. It's huge. The amount of like gigabrain nerds that are building there, and like there's a load of like positive like content creators as well, and people just like wanting to have a really good voice, and they were pissed off at how like these parasites are the ones that are controlling the space. You know, this flush is getting rid of those parasites, getting rid of the scum, right? It's leaving the people who have an honest voice, who care about people, and trying to give people the education so they don't get wrecked and rugged in the next bull run, or even the time between now and the next bull run. Because that bull run, you know, people keep talking about it. It might be in 2 years' time, right? You know, don't get rugged between now and then, bro.
Yeah, you know, we interviewed Cantering Clark, and that stream is up, and he spoke like one of the really like valuable things that I took away from that interview is that Ryan speaks about he doesn't mind buying at 20 to 30% above bottom. He doesn't care. He actually prefers coming in, like from his strategy, he doesn't mind coming in 30% from the bottom. As long as there's a trend, as long as he can see that there is upward movement, then he'll get involved, because he believes that there is so much profitability in this space that it doesn't matter. And that's a great strategy, because then you don't have to sit, like you said, Dan, you don't have to sit and watch, you know, these wicks and these stupid charts and like lose your mind. Yeah, I mean, what is that? You know, that's just crazy. You know, unless you are, like I said, if you aren't a samurai in the space as a trader, don't try and get involved, because you're going to get wrecked. That is 100% correct. You might get lucky, but your chance of getting lucky is the percentage is single digits, in my opinion. So for me, it's like I don't mind buying at 30% higher. Do I believe that we are at bottom? I think we're close. I think I've been saying for a while, I always said between 12 and 14 from a Bitcoin perspective, but it could go lower than that. You just never know. So I just wait for 30%. Who cares if I buy 20? I don't care, because I know that it has the potential in the next run, when the trend's in, for it to go to 60, 70 again. So, you know, that's just the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah, for the vast majority of people, luck and or hope is not a strategy that works purely down to probability over time. It just doesn't. You just end up you're gonna get fucked regardless doing that. So it's I don't know. Dan, should we go through the newsletter, because there's some good points about what's been kind of uncovered? I'll bring it up. I've got it here.
Hell yeah.
The link for the newsletter is in the description too. So if anyone hasn't subscribed to that, and YouTube for that matter, that'd be a big help. We're going to release a full kind of breakdown of what's actually happened in PDF form. That's only for newsletter subscribers, and that I don't think that'll probably see the light of day, as opposed to if you're not kind of subscribed. So we're just going to keep that behind. It's not paid or anything. It's just all we want in return is a newsletter sub. So once the dust settles around that, we'll pull all that together, because I still think there's going to be a load of shit that comes to light over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be hard to keep up with, but we'll do our best to kind of get it reported on properly, because we can't have another New York Times article like that. It was quite embarrassing, really, from one of the biggest news agencies on the planet. So
I tell you what, that Joe Rogan, that GIF, when I saw it,
it's the best.
It just summed everything up. Like every day, like something else. Then you see like a little orgy sex tape. It's like, oh my god. And then you see like Caroline like talking about, hi, we don't use stop losses. We just put like a 10 billion short as things are going up. It's like, hi. And then like, what was it? There was a shit coin that made like a video, and it's got that My Caroline song in the background. I was like, it's genius, absolute genius. Who'd have thought that? I was like, mate, could you imagine going down the pub tonight and singing that My Caroline? Oh my god.
So he just covered a basic TLDR recap, but then I don't think we've actually spoke about the hack and what we think's going on here. Has anyone got any kind of wild theories of what's actually happening?
There's no hack. It's definitely an inside job. They're just making sure that they're taken care of and that they've got some funds so that they can get on with their lives once this thing blows over. That's my feeling around it. I mean, there's $300 million in there, dude. Mm-hmm. You could buy a country with that money. You know, it's just problems go away with that kind of money. They literally do.
Yeah. See, this was my... Sorry,
go on, Dan.
I was going to say, this is the point that I brought up in Discord the other day. I was like, why are these bellends like trying to move 9-10 figures around? Like, I promise you, like any country in the world, like if you just siphoned off 1 million or 2 million, it would probably go unnoticed, even on the blockchain, and you could probably definitely live a really good life. Now, if you're in the like Bahamas, if you're like Mexico, if you're in Panama, like, dude, even like 10 grand is gonna like, it's probably gonna last you a year. So like to try and be Billy Big Bollocks here and like steal $1 billion after you just lost 10, like it just doesn't make sense. Like, fucking stop playing League of Legends, dickhead. Like, do some good for some people after you just like wreck people, and just fuck, man, stop being a bellend. It's annoying me.
Yeah, but they can't though, can they? Because they obviously ascribe specific numbers with regards to net worth to what they deem themselves worth, and by that I mean they're so on their own high horse because the full industry was kind of under their boot that there's no way one of them would be able to go live somewhere in a humble life on 10 grand a year. I mean, it'd be easy for a lot of people if you went to live in somewhere in Asia or, as you say, in South America. You'd have a fucking great time. But for these fuckers, that's never going to happen. They want like the full pie, even though it's not their fucking money. Quite interesting that they traded fully out of, fully into ETH, into DAI, 38 million in BNB. And then 40 million in Pax G, which is a bit strange, but there we go. And then I think that 3.97 million USDT on Avalanche is frozen. I don't know, there's been some more USDT frozen. I bet they were happy to. But as soon as they got that call, they were like, yeah, let's freeze that for these fuckers. Because I know they came out against Tether and they were trying to short it on chain around that time as well. But it was just a strange one to watch unfold, because what was happening is, particularly on Dbank, if you follow it through there, you can see token approvals. So it suggests that obviously if you're on Uniswap or Matcha or Curve or something, you need to do the infinite approval before you sell a token. Kind of indicates that they're going to offload it. So people were effectively putting shorts on those specific tokens. They were eating some ridiculous slippage as well. Let me see if I can find. They were losing tens of millions on a trade just by like market dumping out absolutely everything. Everyone's sending them fuck FTX tokens. And then all these.
Mate, you had sorry.
No, I was just going to say these 0.0 ETH or like 1 cent of ETH. These will be people messaging them effectively, I think. So yeah, complete shit show. But people were happy that they were trading into Ethereum. No names mentioned.
Just out of interest, what are your thoughts around like them off-ramping this kind of money? Like in any reality, how do they off-ramp any of this money?
Tornado Cash.
Okay, so Tornado Cash, okay.
Probably Tornado Cash into multiple wallets, distribute, and probably do it a couple more times just to spread that. Buy someone's KYC from an exchange, or even route small amounts through an exchange that doesn't require KYC. You can buy KYC details online. Everyone knows that. Hope that's not news to anyone, particularly if you're in like a faraway country, put it that way. I don't necessarily think they'll, with this such a large amount, they, as Dan was saying, if they wanted to siphon a couple of million away, they might be able to get away with that, but not like a third of a billion. No way. Were you asking because that it was you who did it? Is that what?
No, it wasn't me who did it. We know who did this. It's very obvious who did this. There's way too many. I mean, there was an amazing thread that I read yesterday around someone who claims to have been an employee who basically goes through the process, or rather the processes that are in place for Sam to be able to bypass a certain degree of detection. I don't know if you actually saw that thread.
Yeah.
So how true it is, though.
Yeah, so effectively, someone inside FTX was saying there was, by all accounts, some kind of backdoor, so Sam could effectively have master access to the audit trail and balance sheet. So if anyone was coming to kind of audit, I just don't see how. I don't really know how true that would be, because if you've got some of the world's largest funds and VCs and things like that on your books, surely you'd like to think that their due diligence process was a little bit more in detail than that. But if we've seen anything over the past couple of months, it's just like VCs in the space don't have a fucking clue what they're doing, just as much as retail traders. They've just slapped their own little badge on top and said, look at me, fucking amazing. So this was quite interesting. Gary Wang, the CTO, made his most contributions on GitHub the day before of the hack. And people are kind of speculating if he's even real, but I think he's definitely real. But it's all. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, go on.
I think what's really important about what's going on right now is that you guys mustn't believe everything that you read out there, because this is the environment and the cauldron that affords the opportunity for the most amount of bullshit to come to the fore. So just kind of read everything with a pinch of salt. Try and step away from stuff. I mean, it's so easy to get sucked in. I'm even getting sucked in on a lot of this stuff. Just try and keep a clear head, and don't believe everything that you read. I think it's quite a dangerous space. I mean, it's fantastic to kind of gamify a story like this, isn't it? Like, what about this? What about that? And it's like, so it's probably all bloody true based on what we've been seeing. It's like, you have to really try hard to make it as outlandish as possible, but just tread carefully, guys. I think it can get.
Did you see that some of these big voices that are speaking for the community right now?
Are we really going to talk about that fucking Spaces, bro? Are we really going to talk about that now?
I was only going to mention one thing, because when it comes to the falsification of or dressing them with information, one of the slightly uneducated people in there clearly isn't a shitcoin trader, because it was like, oh my God, FTX has just sent coins to 6 different accounts to Vitalik XYZ. And I had to look at it, and like there was 6 coins from like the fuck SBF coin. I was like, bro, why would Alameda and FTX send a coin to Vitalik that's called fuck SPF, bro? Are you stupid, mate? Are you actually stupid? Like, you're this gigabrain nerd and you can't read Etherscan. That's a spoof, bro.
Yeah, people need to be very aware of what's going on there. Absolute idiots and leeches of the space are creating large Twitter spaces and inviting some of the most influential people on the space to come in, and they've got like a sea of hounds going around and spamming the links into every which place on the internet effectively to draw people's attention in. They'll be wanting to sell you something further down the line, or they'll be doing it for some fucking reason. Just be very aware of people who grow for the sake of growing, and using stuff like this as a growth hack, particularly during this time. So yeah, I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, but just be fucking very careful, because those types of people are what's wrong with the space.
The thing is that we obviously have a community that's very aware of this kind of thing. So we're effectively like speaking to the choir here. But I'm going to say it anyways. It's kind of like, it's really easy to come across as somebody who knows what the fuck is going on in this space. It's actually really easy. All you do is you do the growth hack, you start talking about something, you bring in these so-called professionals. I mean, when was the last time that these guys that actually were on this Twitter spaces that's kind of like played out over the last 4 days? When was the last time that a lot of these scammers actually had a platform to speak that was as extensive as this outside of their own communities? I don't actually ever remember a time like this where, you know, like real scammers get the opportunity to speak to people outside of their community and then come across as being like these thought leaders and these like people that know what the fuck is going on. Because they don't know what's going on. They have their opinion, which is fine because we all have opinions, but they're trying to sell themselves as like people who actually know what the fuck is going on. Dude, we don't know what the fuck is going on. We're figuring it out like everybody else, but we don't go up there and we know what's going on. We don't know what the fuck's going on. So why is it that they now all of a sudden know what the fuck's going on? So just be careful who you listen to in this space, because these scammers go as well, frankly, you know, and it's like their day can't come soon enough.
I'm gonna create a DAO that is invested in bullying. It needs to happen. We need to bring back bullying, because this wouldn't have happened with Alameda and FTX if that was the case. And these fucking idiots who are complete losers wouldn't be. They're using a really bad situation for personal growth, and we'll get on. Correct. It's a perfect segue for fucking what we're about to speak about. But just be aware. But I also think it's a lot of people won't say it, and a lot of people won't bring it up for God knows why. But we need to be more. Well, there's two things. We need to be more kind of open to people who criticize, because what tends to happen is you get a community rallying around and completely dragging someone down who spoke out against their specific protocol because there's money on the line. It happened with Jack and Luna, like quite badly, really.
Yeah.
And we all see how that played out. And there's been 1,000,001 different kind of situations like that, and the space is just not open to genuine discussion and genuine debate, because everyone's so fucking religious about their positions and how overexposed they are to positions and things like that, and they probably look up to the founders as if they're some fucking deity or something. It's so stupid, and this is why we get into these messes. And SBF was that on like gigantic scale, obviously. But yeah, we also need to support people who are bullying these idiots as well.
This KYC thing was really interesting in terms of how it played out with Algod trading. I mean, Algod trading is effectively retiring now, isn't he? Because of this move that he pulled.
Yeah, and like I know we mentioned about KYC a little bit earlier, but if you're considering doing anything like that, don't, because I know people hide behind little frogs and little monkeys and little, I don't know, like blueberries or grapes or whatever as a profile picture, but the ramifications of what you it's true, bro. It's true. But the ramifications of what you do, like in this kind of sense, like it can, I believe, be considered as fraud and as bribery. And if you've ever watched like an episode of Law and Order, bribery and fraud, that's an illegal activity. That is jail. that is some serious stuff, mate. When you go to prison, mate, you're not going to hide behind your little like profile picture. That's the bean. And if you do, you're going to get blasted.
Yep. So we don't know how true this is, but we'll say it anyway. And don't quote us on this, but effectively people were saying that there were, well, we can see it here, like not effectively, this was happening. So someone in Algod's Discord who's believed to be his partner, he's got admin access, posted a Google form here, say we are a special situations investor group who have bought claims in Mt. Gox, Celsius, and Voyager. These are hard times for everyone, and we want to be fair. We're offering to buy accounts for 10 cents on the dollar. You can't say these are hard times for everyone, and we want to be fair, and then say we're going to buy them for 10 cents on the dollar. Now, you could argue something's better than nothing, but at the same time, it always seems to be like similar faces that are always up to fucking no good. Do you know what I mean?
So let me be devil's advocate here and say, would you rather not get anything or get 10 cents to the dollar? Or would you try and negotiate 30 cents to the dollar, knowing that there's a good chance that they can actually give you 30 cents to the dollar if you give them your account?
I just think it's pure.
I mean, besides that, let's just forget about the fact that it is illegal to hand over your account to somebody else. I mean, that's probably in the terms of service, that goes without saying. But in the event that wasn't there, let's look at it from a pure business transaction. Would you rather get 30 cents to the dollar or get nothing? What's the answer?
Yeah, but it's not 30, is it? It's 10. I'd probably go for 30, but they're going in at 10, probably arguably haggling to 20 or whatever, but it's just pure exploitation.
So this is so interesting about that. The interesting thing for me is it's actually based on one thing once again and one thing only, and that is pure fear. I'm exploiting you because you are completely fearful. So I'm going to take advantage of you. Boom. And I'm going to convince myself that I'm doing you a favor. Like, I'm going to justify what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to get you your money at 30 cents to the dollar because that's what we've just agreed on. You're going to get what it is that you want, and I'm definitely going to get what I want because I've got it all worked out how I'm going to get the money out. And that's what's going on right now, is that people justify their bullshit, whether you're on the other side or whether you're on this side. And I find that fascinating. Bottom might be in, boys.
It's a massive, massive double-edged sword, because let's say you had 100 grand in the account, and like that was like everything you've got. And if you could, and you knew it was almost guaranteed to get 10K out of it, like,
I'd rather go back to work. I'd rather go back to work. I'd rather go back to work and know that I haven't completely fucking lost my dignity by giving it over to complete scammers.
Then there's that. I like that one. So thank goodness I had this discussion with you guys before I went to go and see Algod trading. Just joking. But I mean, I've made my decision. I will maintain. I will hold on to the dignity that I have. I can't wait to discuss this one. Crypto.com. Let's go. Oh, are we going to discuss this first? Are we going to discuss his tweets, or are we going to go straight on to crypto.com?
Yeah, let's again. Right. Best guess what's happening here. Go. With regards to these,
I have no idea. Dan?
It took me a while to figure out what's happening. I'm not very good at riddles. That's the God's honest truth, mate. I am terrible in a pub quiz.
Well, he wrote what happened. I figured that out after the A. By the way, I was like, he's going to write what happened. I figured that out, but then that disclaimer there, not legal, whatever he said, not legal advice.
Where was the? Someone had posted that. I think New York Times have been speaking to him.
Mate, I read an article from them this morning, and they were saying like how he doesn't seem as like distraught as he lets on, and like he's been sat there playing video games. Here we go.
Yeah, this was it. So, shortly before the interview, Mr. Bankman-Fried had posted a cryptic tweet, the word "what." Then he had tweeted the letter H. As to explain, Mr. Bankman-Fried said he planned to post the letter A and then the letter P. It's going to be more than one word, he said. I'm making it up as I go. So he was planning a series of cryptic tweets, something like that. But why? I don't know, he said. I'm improvising. I think it's time.
So is this where we say drugs are bad?
I think he's completely lost the fucking plot. And I also think he's going to use... I also think this will lead... Like, I think this will be what he was on about when he says, when the time's right, he'll bring out something against CZ. So something's going to get said about CZ. I'm pretty sure of it. If he's going down, he's the type of fucking egomaniac that wants to bring everything down with him. So I can imagine it's going to be something about CZ or some kind of expose on someone.
Why did you say that? You're normally so good at making these calls. This is not good news. No, dude, you can't be saying this kind of stuff.
I just think that's what's going to happen.
Your hit rate on this kind of stuff is way too high for me to actually take this one lying down, because I have no idea what's going on right now. Right now, I am the proverbial deer with the strongest headlights in my face, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. I really don't. It's like, this makes no sense to me. But you're probably right.
Because he did say
so
that.
You think
he?
this...
So, he did say that when the time's right, I'll tell you more. But and then it's just that last line on there. I think it's time. I just obviously probably reading a little bit too much into this and probably doing a little bit of horoscoping, turning into Marin a little bit here. But would you bring everyone down with you? Well, I know that you wouldn't because you have sound mind, but if you're the golden child of the one whole industry, would you want to see it succeed without you?
Because he was the golden child, wasn't he? Like, probably more the golden child than probably anyone in ever industry ever, probably. Like, if I was in his situation right now, there would only be one thing on my mind, and that is there'd be two options. Like, do I stand up and take it on the chin, or do I make a run for it like a boss, like a real boss? Plastic surgery, the whole enchilada, go find an island somewhere, live in a bunker for 10 years and just vanish off the face of the earth. Those are the two options for me. Like, if I was in that situation, I'd probably land up frickin' taking it on the chin, and because I don't know, I like to sleep at night, and I think that's the only way that I'd be able to sleep, is to just take it. Okay, let's go and ride it out. I would have expected him to have made a run, to be honest. It was like, for me, that was the obvious choice in terms of who he is, but clearly I was wrong.
He's got God tier mode, and he's got God tier syndrome, where he will continue until everything just crashes and burns. And this is like, he likes power, and the amount of control he has got over a whole industry right now, even though there's 8 of us in this industry, but still he's got all of this power. And the way he's putting these like cryptic messages out there, it's like, yeah, I am still, he's like, hey, was it Xerxes from like 300, where like he's got this like God mode, and he's putting these tweets out because he knows he gets the attention, and everybody is like literally waiting for him to like say something or post a letter. And like, could you imagine that control and the way he must be feeling with it? You know, the fact that it's like, I'm improvising. I think it's time.
So it's all he's got left.
It's all he's got left, yeah.
But there is only
What would you do in a situation like this, Grant? If you were him?
If I was him, I'd have been gone last week.
Yeah. Poof, like just vanish. Delete everything.
I posted a tweet saying if I was him, because he's got such a stupid fucking head, I'd just shave my head, go on like a coke binge in Colombia or somewhere like that, lose a load of weight, start deadlifting and squatting every day, eat a lot of steaks, and then just like become a Vin Diesel impersonator in South America or something like that.
And with that kind of money, you would be able to do it, right? You could do it like very comfortably. And but what happens, you know, the interesting thing though is that a lot of people don't realize this, but got to live a little bit of life to realize that it's not just about the money. You know, like you can have all the money, but if you don't have perspective around it, it actually means nothing. You kind of like a month in, 2 months in, 6 months in, he's going to be back to doing something fucking stupid. And people don't realize that, you know, it's like you think, yeah, I've got a few million and I'm sorted. That's not how it works. It's not really what happiness is. I don't really want to get into the philosophy of all of that, but I really think that this dude is going to land up being very miserable for the rest of his life, just because that was his peak. How do you ever go back to that now? He had the whole world in the palm of his hands, and it's gone now. It's gone.
Mate, he's got two of the most important things. Mate, I'm going to disagree with you. He's got two of the most important things, right? He's got 9 figures in the bank, and he's got Caroline.
Does he actually have any money in the bank, though? Is he actually cash rich? I don't think he is.
I don't think so. No, I don't think he is.
Caroline. Beautiful.
He's got Caroline. I don't think he's very cash rich. Doing some research on him from the early days for this, I suppose, article that we're going to release is he claimed like effective altruism, and if you go on his Forbes profile, he's like in the bottom. He's like one of the bottom, like in the top 400. He's like one at the bottom for altruism and philanthropy, because I think he'd effectively given away like 35 million at the time, and it was like, compared to his net worth, it was like 0.1%. So it was, the way they described it was as like just like the average 29-year-old going over to a charity bin and putting $25 in. So it was just completely a load of fucking shit from start to finish. And I'm extremely wary of people who say stuff like that. So I don't actually think he was cash rich. Like, obviously fucking a million times richer than me with regards to the, like, USD denominated in the bank. But compared to his net worth, I don't think he actually was. And that was kind of the downfall in and of itself. If he owned 50% of FTX, and a lot of it was he was all tied up in FTX and FTX equity and FTT and things like that, that in and of itself was the effective downfall, because it didn't look like they had any cash of their own apart from like the FTT that they were taking loans on, taking unsecured loans on and things like that. So again, I don't think he's going to come. He will have funds siphoned away somewhere, I think. But I also don't think he's anywhere near 9 figs.
He drives a Corolla. So either. That was the
right.
Sign.
Drives a Corolla, and he's got a 35 million fucking mansion.
Thoughts on Binance delisting FTT?
It's a no-brainer, wouldn't it?
Why did they not delist Luna?
Because the Luna community is cool.
Yeah, I think it's a community thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't want to marginalize that many outspoken lunatics for they're using their words, not mine.
Are there any exchanges that are still allowing you to sell FTT or buy FTT? Do you know?
Yeah, fucking BitMEX, open perps on it. I think they're still running it. There'll be KuCoin will definitely still be running it. The volume on it, people are like speculating on it and trading with like an extremely thin book. People will be making fortunes if they know what they're doing, and all the fees that drives. That's why Luna Classic isn't delisted anywhere. Everyone's waiting for a comeback.
Watch next cycle. Watch, dude. Watch next cycle. It's going to land up doing crazy stuff, you know. Like, and then we want to know why are we gonna have nothing and be happy.
Mate, just watch next week. Do Kwon comes back. I mean, what we had Zhu Su this week, or sorry, last week, come out of nowhere. Do Kwon next week. Freaking like, what's Times guy? Oh, Daniel Celesta or whatever. He comes back the week after. Do you imagine that? And then all of a sudden, like the Ronin Bridge hack gets given back. Mate, what a year it's been. Absolutely bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been a bonkers year.
There's just so many signs. Like this Forbes article where they did like a full piece on him. It's just it goes into how much he wasn't interested in the space in and of itself. It was just more interested in making as much money as possible so he could give it away, which that's all well and good saying it, but you need the figures to back it up. And he donated 0.1%, which is a fucking drop in the ocean. And then there's a part in it that says, if trading orange juice futures was more profitable, would you be doing that? And he replies in like a heartbeat saying, yeah, of course. And then it's just like, this guy was like leading the charge in Congress.
And apparently that bill looks to be passed, irrespective of the fact that he was running a scenario where he was a fraudster.
So
he's, the fraudster's bill is going to get passed. How does that work?
It's no coincidence that he was on that bill, that he was getting so much airtime with these people. This goes down at a similar sort of time as the midterms. It just feels like to me, without like putting a tinfoil hat on, he's just being given as much free rein as physically possible by politicians in the US to allow him to go and effectively put a magnifying glass on the industry and then come down with a regulatory hammer around it. And that's my honest opinion. I think he's effectively being a plant inside. Maybe not as strategic as being a plant, but just let him hang himself effectively, and then we can come down.
I see what you did there with the whole vegan plant thing. You think I didn't see that, bro? Very clever.
He might not be a vegan, but he's a plant.
Let's talk about the most commonly and most painful word that's being used and has been for a while, the contagion around this. And you did flip to it now in terms of, like we're a multi-billion-dollar exchange, but we're going to land up sending $400 million worth of Ethereum to the wrong wallets. Do you honestly believe that we believe you? Honestly believe that story is going to wash with us? You sent $400 million, and then you've got your loyal clients posting in Twitter saying, have you never made a mistake before, bro? Like, are you perfect that you've never sent money to the wrong address? Damn right I ain't going to send $400 million to the wrong address. Shitting me, bro. Just give me a second. I need to do a Gabriel Haynes here. Not send $400 million to the wrong address. Are you mad?
I listened to his live stream on YouTube yesterday. He was very, very dismissive.
The CEO,
and obviously,
are you talking about?
Yeah,
Kris. Yeah.
He's obviously under a lot of pressure, and you can never really. You have to do those things to kind of shut a few people up at the fringes, but it's again, he came across okay, and I kind of walked away thinking, yeah, that was good. And then I was like thinking back to some of the stuff he said. And with regards to the 400 million getting sent to a different address, he was effectively saying, we have an address book that you physically can't send it to a wayward address or an address that isn't in there. And it effectively landed in a custody wallet before Gate.io could do anything with it, and we had just had to contact them to increase our withdrawal limit so we could actually get it back. I was like,
no,
I don't know about that.
No, sorry, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. This is the fundamentals of your business. You don't send $10 million to the wrong person or to just a random person in your books, and you don't send $400 million. $400 million.
I've just remembered this. Why did I not think of this? Can you remember when they did this?
Yeah,
Crypto.com mistakenly paid a woman millions.
10 million, dude. They gave her $10 million. I know, what was it? 7.2 million Australia. 10 million,
10 million Aussie.
But we know why. You know why that was, right? Don't you? That was clearly like a sex scandal or something, and she got like paid off. And that was it. That's what that is. You don't mistake, mate. Like I might have been a bit divvy in my early days, and I used the wrong network, so I got money stuck. But I've never sent anything to the wrong fucking wallet, mate. Like these guys are idiots.
No,
like these guys are absolute genuine idiots.
There's no ways. There's always. I promise you, it's not what it is that they're saying. It's just too. It's just there's no ways you send $400 million. Maybe this is true. Maybe they did make a mistake. I can totally buy this, but 400 million around. This is kind of like the fundamentals of your business. If you're a crypto.com client, and that happens, and they made that mistake, and it was true, and you still have your money in that exchange, you deserve what's coming to you. That's all I've got to say.
Do you believe the thing about them having so much SHIB? They're like, because it was so popular, and they hold assets 1-to-1. That's the reason they got so much SHIB. I'm just like, hey,
didn't they have more SHIB than Ethereum?
Yeah, they got 20% of their reserves.
20% allocation.
I'm like, bro, are you Ryoshi or something?
Unbelievable.
But this doesn't add up then, because yesterday he specifically said it's impossible to send funds to an account that isn't in our address book. And there's lots of checks and balances to stop that from happening.
I'll rest my case.
But they accidentally sent a woman 10 million. So something's not right, and also BitMEX listed CRO perps. So read between the lines.
But why would these idiots use like the official crypto.com accounts? Like, mate, surely it's the blockchain, mate. Surely if you're going to pay somebody off, you would like do it from a fresh, clean wallet. You wouldn't be like the biggest exchange wallet there is paying somebody off. Mate, these guys are stupid, man. They are not degens. They have not spent time in the casino.
They haven't.
There's a tweet I seen from someone earlier. I don't know if it was paid or whatever. This one. So this Janish, let's see what his background is. Yeah. Sold all assets on Binance and transferred to crypto.com. Just bought more CRO 41,499 tokens. That could be a very costly mistake.
What is he doing here?
Why would you just do that for like virtue signaling's sake? Do you know what I mean?
Does he see an opportunity in terms of the price being really low? Is that what this is?
Well, what's the price at the minute?
It's probably like engagement farming.
Yeah, potentially. You know what these people are like.
But what I did notice last night, a load of people were minting like new USDC on Binance and then shifting it straight over to like Coinbase.
Coinbase?
Yeah.
Coinbase is
last night.
Like Touchwood. Coinbase is probably one of the safest out there. They're one-to-one custody.
Yeah, they are probably the
They don't
safest at the moment. The irony of
fucking-
it. Well, CRO looks like it's recovering on the 4 hour. Had quite a big drop. Yeah. Resistance coming up at 0.08 might be a potential short. Just some alpha quickly. I mean, it's been a little bit of a kind of like an let's watch and see. Do we have any other points that we want to discuss? I mean, the contagion thing, just coming back to that. The contagion thing is that we haven't seen the half of it. We saw one of the hedge funds, who was it that came out yesterday, in a very genuine and very sincere post around the fact that their treasury was in FTX. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in the coming weeks, which is obviously quite sad and very serious. I know that CZ said that he wanted to set up, they're going to be setting up a recovery fund. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if you guys have thoughts around that. But effectively, this is the list of people and companies and projects that were exposed to Alameda and to FTX Ventures. And I expect a lot of these guys are in the same situation. And sadly, I think they are all, not all, but I think a fair amount of these projects, because they had an arrangement. One of the contractual arrangements, which I've established is pretty factual, is that if you were funded by these guys, one of the stipulations to a large degree was to have your money kept in FTX. Why? Because they would then use those funds to do other things, which we've obviously established to be a fact.
Yeah, that's so fucking shit. And some of the stuff I was hearing earlier was the likes of Oxy and Maps and a few others that they effectively built this Solana ecosystem. And the way that they'd raise funds, like with Serum and stuff like that, the way that they raise funds for these particular protocols is they'd send out a Google sheet that had specific slots at specific prices, and they'd send it across their VC networks. And it was like a first come first served. If you got into the early slots, obviously you got a better price. But and it was just all over the shop, really haphazard. And this was the Serum. This is the Serum raise by all accounts. This was on another podcast, so you can probably find it. And they were saying but for me that just says they were preying on VCs not wanting to miss the boat and not wanting to be on the same cap table as Alameda, not wanting to be, and also not wanting to miss out to other people that they seen were already in the Google sheet. It's these guys are allocating, we need to be in it as well. And by putting it as so public as that, just kind of initiated kind of FOMO for people who wanted to get on the cap table, and they effectively cleaned up on raising with regards to stuff like that. Usually a 7-year vesting period where you effectively the tokens could be staked, so you'd be subject to stake and rewards, and that's probably how you'd get your initial capital back out and your ROI there. So I think I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they'd built a shit ton of projects just to basically kind of rinse retail. There are rumors that SushiSwap and Chef Nomi came out of there based on the tweets, the apology tweets and some the early rumors at the time. So they've just been, complete con men from the beginning, really.
And no one saw it. And those that did were such a minority that their voices were drowned immediately.
Yeah, because Hasib was saying that they realized that you can't. What Sam realized, and apparently this was a conversation between Kyle Davies and Sam, and Kyle Davies relayed this back to Hasib, was they realized you can't just create a token and then dump it. But what they did realize is you can create a token, say that you're in a specific amount of rounds, then use that token effectively as collateral to bring in more funds. So they kind of seen what happened in 2017, 2018, and said we can't do this because we'll just get known as like dumping bandits, but they still were anyway. So they used that tactic to draw in as much collateral and as much kind of tokens that they could use as collateral as physically possible, then to go and actually get the dollars that they could use for the market making. So very strategic, very kind of underbelly tactics of DeFi. And let's not even get onto how many projects they completely fucking destroyed by yield farming. I mean, that's partly down to the shoddy mechanics of liquidity mining, but they also didn't need to go and own like 50-60% of every single pool that was in DeFi at the time.
I did make some comments in Discord in October of last year where, watching all these charts getting decimated, I did make some comments which I pasted in my Discord channel on Blockmates, where I did make comments that Sam was effectively the megalodon of sharks and that people need to be wary of him. But no one listened to me. And I kind of just thought maybe I was being unreasonable and this was the game and that I shouldn't be blaming the player and I should blame the game. But clearly the game was rigged from the start, so, and it was rigged by the players that were Alameda. I mean, they decimated Avalanche. They just really, they even joked about it with Joe, didn't they? They made comments of, "We surprised you guys survived it." Giggle, giggle. So in many ways, the positive is that good riddance. Now we need to heal and we need to move forward. That's what needs to happen. And we need to make sure that we don't repeat this again. And like I've said countless times this week, I'm a DeFi maxi. No, it's all about DeFi for me. I don't care about central exchanges. They can fuck off.
And if you see me in Discord, I'm an NFT maxi for various new reasons.
Just because you're getting all these hot babes who are posting clickbait pictures of themselves, so that terrible stuff.
Oh, damn it! I accidentally clicked it again. Whoops! I fell for the clickbait. Whoops!
Crypto Yield Info's just posted 15 minutes ago that the exploiter is buying ETH on Uniswap with DAI. 45 million more DAI to go. That's why it's
that's why ETH's pumping then.
Yeah, the bankers guys and to sell will be.
So what? They've lost 3 million already. They had 336 when we started the show. Now they're on 333.
What are they swapping here?
BNB for what? Hasn't popped. It's still indexing. Go back and just look at the ones below that.
Swapping DAI for ETH.
11 minutes ago, that should be through. DAI for ETH, yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Jesus.
Still indexing.
3 million.
Yeah. They don't care at this point. I'll be surprised if they land up with, once they're done with this whole clown show, whether they'll probably land up with like 100 left, the way they're going. It's just so reckless right now. You can see it's like fat fingers and flapping around and just doing all this stupid shit.
At least they're using.
I'm surprised that. Car, there we go.
Why is that still looking to be processed?
I wonder what is the amount? 2 million. It's 2 million. That's why, bro.
Yeah, but on an AMM, it should. There'll definitely be more than.
Isn't...
No, on PancakeSwap.
Maybe PancakeSwap should have. Yeah, they should have liquidity.
They're huge.
They're huge. They're probably one of the biggest.
I think it'll be 50 million something. But I'll just go on here. Fuck, 132 million on chain liquidity.
Yeah, that's insane. So just check again, just refresh and see if it's gone through. Doesn't look like it has.
I think there's going to be some censoring.
I wonder. Maybe they blocking it. I mean, CZ would. I'm surprised he hadn't done it before, to be honest.
That's interesting.
So we've had this discussion before, right? Remember, we had this discussion several weeks ago where we asked the question: if there's a known bad actor in the decentralized space and the powers that be can stop whatever it is that they're doing, do you stop it for the sake of funds being saved, or do you let it go because it's supposed to be decentralized? The question gets asked again. Right now, I don't think there's anyone out there that would disagree that these guys need to be stopped.
In a high profile, criminal case as this, most certainly.
The only thing is, if regulators and the powers that be see that it's possible to do this kind of thing, it's just like you want to hope that they don't start like holding people ransom for it. Let's hope they don't have CZ's nudes, because it could be quite dangerous.
Is this the transaction that earned them the ban hammer? I wonder. We'll find out soon enough, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah. I mean, the ETH, I don't think it's possible. ETH, you can't stop. I mean, I think ETH really, there is the whole decentralization, but there are actors within the decentralized space that can stop, as we saw, USDT, USDC. But they are the freaking cogs of the whole machinery, aren't they? And if they stop transactions, then you can't really do anything unless you just keep it in ETH.
I think that's been censored.
I think it is being censored. I think you're 100% correct. Why did they not put this through the washing machine? Why have they not done that? I would have expected that they would have put it through ages ago. Are they really like so confident and arrogant around this thing that they just, well, we don't have to do it. We'll do it later.
Wow. That's interesting.
Have there been any more transactions since then? Let's check.
No.
Go back to DBank. No.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, for those listening on Spotify, we're currently investigating what's going on BSC scan.
I don't think it's gonna go through. It doesn't take 7 minutes to clear a transaction, and it still says
Not on PancakeSwap.
It's gone through to Binance Peg ETH.
Okay.
Just lost.
They lost 100 grand,
does-
160K there, if I'm reading that right.
Yeah. 160 grand slippage from swapping BNB to Binance Peg ETH. But they're going to have to use multi-chain to get across. Or some kind of bridge.
So the transaction went through, they lost 160 grand. Why would they, are they diversifying what it is that they hold with different chains?
I have no idea if they were consolidating, they'd say they were consolidating, they'd have to. But it looks like they're just going for the least censorship resistant at this point. Hence why they transferred into DAI as opposed to USDC or USDT, because they knew that would be blacklisted immediately.
Interesting. The plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. All right, and we'll be back Friday. Hopefully, we've got a little bit more to unpack. Hopefully, it's not bad news, but I won't hold my breath. Anything else, gents?
Yeah, I think everyone needs to just keep it tidy out there. Be safe. Stick around.
Okay.
Survive. Don't go anywhere.
And if
Be
you're
Right.
if you're in England, definitely watch I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, because watching Matt Hancock eat testicles is great.
Thanks for that really enlightening bit of information.
My
Well, if
pleasure.
there's any silver line in the World Cup starts at the weekend, so
Apparently, it's not coming home.
I might have an extremely sore head on Tuesday, so we'll have to see. Because England are playing Monday night.
Who England playing in the opening game?
Iran.
That'll be an interesting game. Should win it.
We're buggered.
We're buggered. Clearly, you're not going into it with any expectations.
If we don't do well, I don't know how. I can't have this and then get knocked out in the group stages. Jesus.
No, dude.
That would
You
not
know
be
what?
good.
I'll tell you what's going to happen with England. It's very simple. England will undoubtedly go all the way to probably the semi-finals. They'll probably beat some of the best teams in the world, and then they'll throw it with an obvious win because they think they've won it already. That's what's going to happen to you guys. It always happens that way.
Mate, that just
So I
sounds
don't
like
see
the
why-
rugby. Get out of here, man. Beat
I
New
can't
Zealand,
do that.
and
But you
lost to New
always
Saffers.
do that.
Get out of here.
You do it in the cricket, you do it in the rugby, you do it in the footy.
Hey, we did all right in the cricket at the weekend.
Yeah, we won the Women's World Cup as well. Not that
Yeah,
anybody
you guys-
remembers.
No, you played New Zealand, didn't you? Didn't you lose against New Zealand in the final?
Spicy.
Not for the women's footy.
Not the women's, okay.
But on that bombshell, come on, England.
Right. We'll be back Friday. If you can do all the like and subscribe stuff, I know you can't be asked, but if you want to see more of us on your feed as opposed to Bankless getting really happy about ETH gas fees being extremely high, so it burns ETH, then you have to feed the algorithm to allow that to happen. All right. Over and out.